Alright, you guys, today we'll be talking about the simple random sample, or SRS, and it's the simplest method possible of obtaining a sample. The general sense is this: number every individual in the target population, then randomly select one at a time a preset number of them to comprise the sample. Okay, just a side note, not only does every individual in the population have the same chance of being selected, every possible sample has the same chance of being selected. Okay, some situations to think about with this one. If you were ever walking through an airport and you wondered how they ever did the screening for the metal detectors and stuff, you'll probably have noticed the story saying like people with Middle Eastern descent have been pulled aside, that type of stuff. And that could be possibly true, but that's all anecdotal. However, hearing of old ladies being picked means that that anecdotal evidence might not actually be entirely true, because it might be just an SRS type of situation. Does everyone have an equal chance? No. I would have to agree that sometimes the professionalism of the TSA is not the best, but I do have a feeling that they do try to come up with simple ways to actually do this. Now, however, if they're picking like the every fifth person, that is not a simple, or that is not an SRS, because not everyone has the same chance of being selected. For example, if you were to, a great way to do this type of survey is to list out all your classmates, whether they be all juniors or seniors, write out the list, put numbers for each person, and then select them randomly. That would be probably the best way, but ahead of time you would probably have to figure out what's the best number. Now, a really good number, and I do know this, is actually in like choosing toilets, and this was an interesting one. Like, if you have a whole series of toilets, when do you know when to stop? Choosing to know that you're going to pick the best toilet. Okay, and let's just say this continues on forever, down the road. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of toilets. When would you stop and say, what, oh, hey, I need to know this? And actually, a really good number to actually figure this out is about 38.6% of all of the choices. This is where you want to stop and just do it, because you're going to get the max amount of choices right there. And so here's how it works. The actual toilet problem works. So you stop at the first toilet A, then you go to the second toilet, and then the third toilet, and you look in and you just you have your choices, and you go all the way down to N. Okay, all right, and anywhere in between you can stop and actually pick your toilet. By the nth toilet that you pick, you pretty much want to pick your toilet, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future, and the toilets do continue on forever and everything, but you're just going to be wasting time at that point. So what it's saying is basically, within this first 38.6% of toilets that you pick, you're going to see a good sample of what that is. And that actually comes from, I think, not so much the SRS, but that comes from some interesting evidence that backs up the SRS and everything. So I would say, whenever you do your select data, if you wanted to do a sample, like let's say you had 1,000 people to choose from, I would honestly say probably pick about 386 people to work with, or more. The more people you have, the merrier and stuff. I do know that if you underrepresent this problem, in other words, you go lower than this, I would say this is just a good target number. If some people ask, like, when do I stop and when do I say, okay, that's the size of my sample, I would say 38.6 is a great number to start from, and then you go up or down from there however you want to choose. But I do recommend do a larger number, because when you look at And obviously you still have to be aware of Simpson's paradox and lurking variables and stuff. But if you do too small of a number, you're not going to get any kind of statistical significant data. Like I know, for example, now anti-vaccinators, I know you guys know I've talked about this before, but anti-vaccinators, I don't agree with them. It's not sound science they found everything on. But the scientists who actually found that information, I believe... All right, and the scientist was Andrew Wakefield, and I think he was Canadian, and he actually only used, I think, 5 kids to measure the correlation and causation between MMR vaccine and autism and stuff. And once again, vaccination, anti-vaccinators have been around since the 1850s, amazingly enough, but they have only reached really a high pitch lately in the last 2, 3, maybe 5 years and stuff. So a lot of people have said, oh, hey, you got to be careful about what you put in kids. I do agree. You do have to be careful about what you put in your kids. But just understand, vaccinations have been working for a while. Polio has been eradicated pretty much. Measles and mumps were eradicated, and rubella. And now it's starting to come back because not everyone's vaccinating. So you just have to be very careful to look at the information and stuff. And just so you know, just to kill the suspense, Andrew Wakefield, his work has been retracted and authorities stripped him of his medical license because he's really, he could be causing thousands of deaths needlessly from those type of people. And here's an interesting, this was actually a tweet the other day. Someone had posted, they asked their doctor, they said, oh, hey, doc, do you have an Ebola shot, to prevent us from getting Ebola? And the doctor says, no, there's not one yet. And then the doctor asked him, they said, however, would you like a flu shot? Because it reminded the doctor and stuff. And the father who asked about the Ebola shot said, no, we don't believe in those type of things. And so it's just it's a funny, weird thing to just think about that, some people are really just kind of, they're afraid of the unknown, and yet the known that they think they know, they're not afraid of saying no to and stuff. Anyways, long story short, the SRS, please understand, you want to have a target population, then randomly select one at a time, a preset number. Okay? All right, that's it. Bye.